So, first things first, when you turn it on, it's always going to go into hold mode because it is at its core nature a holding cabinet.
Okay.
So when you turn it on, it's going to default to the last holding setting that you had.
Okay.
So when you turn it off, turn it right back on, it's always going to default to hold.
Okay.
So to get into a cook setting, so it's going to default to the last setting that you had it on. So we're going to get water right now.
Okay.
We're just working on the oven, right?
Okay.
So whenever you're doing crispy foods, you want to cook at 350. So if we're doing French fries, chicken strips, anything like that,
I'll go up.
want to start at 350. Fans on high. So we have 6 blowers in this oven. This is a true air fryer. Why? Because we cap out at 350, which makes us ventless. Sorry if I'm in anybody's way. But what we did is we put 6 blowers on the ceiling that pull the air up and shoot the air down every angle. Now, my elements are inside this cavity. So I am circulating my air and I'm never letting it release out the back, so I'm convecting my kinetic energy. When I'm shocking the oven with frozen foods, because I'm going to put a lot of fans in here versus a combi, and I hear that all the time, well, the combi's faster. Well, the combi's also a smaller cavity, and the combi also has a boiler, which assists it in putting pressure into the cavity. What makes us ventless is that we don't have that. But also what makes this a better oven is that I can do more at the same time, goes into hold mode, so I can walk away and go do something else. Another reason I'm talking to you while this is open is because this is a production oven. We can open it and close it as much as we want because my air is going like this. Notice in a convection oven, when you open the doors, what happens? It blows, but the fans stop because the whole point of the door is to bounce the air back. We use our door for opening and closing, not for bouncing the air back. So we actually circulate our air like this. So when you're shocking the oven, let's just say with frozen foods, you're going to want to be at its highest setting, which is 350, and you're going to want to utilize all 6 blowers, which the switch on high, you're utilizing 6. Now let's just say tomorrow I'm doing veggies, right? I don't want the air on high because that's going to be too much air. I'm going to want the air on low. And what that does is that it drops it down to 4 blowers. So in high I'm in 6, in low I'm in 4. When it automatically goes into hold mode like it is right now, it only operates 2 blowers. So 6, 4, 2. Does that make sense? 6, 4, and then hold mode is 2 blowers. So right now we're going to get into a cook setting. It's going to then ask me what I want my hold setting to be because that's what it's going to go to as soon as it's done. Then it's going to ask me for the time. So there are multiple ways of doing this. So I've got some districts that just work in and out of it like an oven, and so they set the time for 4 hours, right? They don't care, they're using it like a normal oven, so they set it to 4 hours and then they just work in and out of it. Some districts don't. They want it to go into hold mode because they're going to go do something else. So normally, French fries, if we're doing shoestring, if we're doing anywhere from 12 to 14 sheet pans of like shoestring fries, the shoestrings will be anywhere from like 35 to 35 minutes because they're thinner. Tater tots are going to be anywhere from 35 to 45 minutes. Your chicken strips are going to be 35 to 45 minutes as well, depending on the density, depending on the frozenness. Also, too, are you guys slacking? If not, so the oven was built whether you slack or not. But if you want to save yourself 10 minutes of cook time, give yourself, roll it out on a one pan rack like this, let it sit out for 10 minutes, slack it. It's funny because in schools we really don't slack things because we're just so used to throwing things in the oven. But you go to a French fry place, go to the Five Guys, go to In-N-Out, or not In-N-Out, sorry, bad example. Yeah, I'm not from here. No, I did, but it's been a while. But you go to any place that actually does frozen anything in an oven, they're usually slacking it. So if you guys want to gain yourselves 10 extra minutes here, give us 10 extra minutes on the rack, so on and so forth. Because again, this is the largest capacity oven on the market right now, other than a roll-in combi. But what's the price of a roll-in combi? 30, 40 grand. So again, what we did here is we took everything away that ties you under the hood. Now, this is the place we have them. I've got Atlanta Public Schools bought 80 of these, and they still put them under their hood because of capacity and the ability to do labor, go do something else while this is cooking. It goes right into hold mode. So okay, 350 degrees, 172 is our hold mode. Let's just say it's a 45-minute cook time, right? Let's just go with that. Now we're in preheat. So as soon as it's done preheating, it'll tell you to hit start, and it's going to be a really loud beep. Now, the display button is quite possibly your best friend for this oven, because the display button is going to tell you actual heat, which is the A, preheat, which is the current mode that it's in, and that's all it's going to tell you, because those are the two things that you need to know right now. Humidity. Now, when we're doing frozen items, chicken strips, french fries, we want no humidity. Not only do we want no humidity, we want to be able to drain that as well, because what's going to happen is, while my oven is at 350, steam happens at 212 degrees. So that top layer of water will still steam, and it's going to counteract what you're trying to do with the frozen foods. So if we're doing, right now we're going to be putting in the bag, so I'm not too worried about that. But when you are doing frozen foods, we have these paddle vents right here. You want the moisture, you want that air to come out here. You can really eliminate a lot of that drippage if you just open these paddle vents. And so what happens is that you'll get, the moisture will start to come up here and vacate here, so you eliminate a lot of that drippage down there. So it's a process. If I'm going to be doing veggies, if I'm going to be doing things with a lot of humidity, my burritos, right? You don't need to be at 100 for burritos or things that are packaged in plastic, because that retains a lot of that moisture. And the air actually keeps it from the plastic from sticking to the burrito itself. So the more moisture you add, you're actually making those burritos stick more to the plastic. So anywhere from 40 to 60 would be ideal for those prepackaged burritos, right? So from 40 to 60%. Anything more than that, you're going to be counteracting. You may get a soggy burrito on the inside. So right now we're still in preheat. What do we do with the bags? We'll probably do anywhere from 50 to 60% on the bags. Let's just go with 60. You're going to want air on high, because you're not really going to damage these bags. At 350 degrees, your air could still be on high. You're not burning these bags. At 500 degrees, you start singeing and burning those bags. I've had some ovens, Vulcans, they'll start to melt and then they just burst. So that's the beauty about this. We actually have these in every Chili's in the airports, because they can retherm their queso in the bags on sheet pans on the bottom, all the while up here baking 2 or 3 sheet pans of chicken. The air is fast enough to brown it and cook it, but the 350 is soft enough to retherm them. Exactly. So you can do multiple things at one time, is the beauty of an oven like this. So we're at 261, and I've been opening and closing the doors. You can see how fast it does climb, 263, 264. It goes up there pretty quickly, so we'll get this one set up. You're going to be doing what in this one now?
Rice.
Rice. All right. So the rice, so there are a couple ways to do rice. 2-inch hotel pans, because our air comes in from the sides and we're covering the top and the bottom. It's that 2-inch hotel pan that you're going to want to use, because the air coming from the top and the bottom and having our cavity with humidity is going to keep the oven from robbing the humidity in the pan. So the 2-inch hotel pan, because of the air movement, actually is a better cook for us. But because we have the capacity, and I can do, for instance, I can do 2 per shelf. Hotel pan, 2 hotel pans here, 2 hotel pans here, because it's that bakery depth, right? So we can stack this, like for instance, Fulton County Schools in Georgia, they do a teriyaki chicken program. They'll do their rice on the bottom, they'll do their veggies in the middle, and they'll do their Tyson chicken. They just open the bag, throw it on there, do their chicken up top. In one cavity, it takes 35 to 40 minutes for the whole thing to be done. And they do it on gentle, because they've got veggies in there. And the whole cavity goes into hold mode, and all they do is pull. It's right behind the serving counter for teriyaki chicken, and they just pull from there, put it in the serving counter, and off they go. So rice, 350, 170. Let's try 45 minutes. That's good. Preheat at 80%. We can do rice. It depends. I like doing fans on high, especially if you're using foil or some type of a lid. If you're not, fans on low, because you don't want gummy rice on the top. What's really nice, because we're not robbing the pan of the humidity, you're not going to get that burn on the bottom, that hard, crusty rice, and you're not going to get the gummy rice on top either. So again, because I'm filling my chamber with humidity, and I'm not taking it away from the pan. So we'll wait for both of these to get up there. Also, another thing, and this is super important, whenever it tells us it's ready, right, when it beeps at it and it says ready, always hit start before you load. Because what happens is, if you load it, then hit start, it's going to drop the temperature, and then it's going to want to climb back up, and it'll stay in what I call perpetual preheat. Or preheat purgatory is another word for it. And so always hit start. And if you need to give yourself 1 minute, like if it's a 45 minute and I'm like, oh, okay, it's going to take me a minute to do this, give yourself yourself 46 minutes, right? But always hit start before you load, because ultimately we remove all of the hard technology, the things that break, the things that are going to be, you know, an issue in 6 months to 7 months, and we gave you a broken down, very simple piece of equipment, which means we still have to give it a little bit more forethought than a combi, right? Because if we're going to pay half the price, we're not going to get all those things that, okay, it's going to sense this, it's going to sense that. What it is going to sense is that it's going to sense that we just shocked it with a bunch of frozen stuff, and it's going to want to get it back up to that temperature, so it allows us to start. Simple rudimentary controls, but again, they don't break. We've got them. We've had these controls now for 25 years. But again, that it just requires a little bit of forethought. Hey, if I'm going to load it, if I'm going to shock this oven, shock and recovery, I'm going to want to hit start before. See, we're already at 314, 315. I want to hit start before I load that oven, just so that it gets into that oven cycle before we get it to drop that temperature. And then once it's in an oven cycle and I drop it, then it's super reactive. It's almost like an expansion valve for a refrigerator. Then it feels that the temperature is dropped, and then it kicks up all 12,000 kilowatts. But if it doesn't know that it's in drive, it's almost like if the car's not in drive, I can hit that pedal all I want, but I'm not going anywhere. Same thing, unless I hit that drive button, I'm gonna put a bunch of gas in it, put a bunch of food in it, but I'm not gonna go anywhere. So, any questions so far? So, when we're doing those frozen items, those French fries, those chicken strips, again, we want to drain that. And how easy is that to drain? There's literally just a paddle right here, and there's a drain hole right here. That's when you get that bigger hotel pan.
Okay.
And when you're draining it. So, like, again, if we want to do frozen products that already have humidity on the icicles, on the crystals, we want to pull this lever that's just right here. I'm not going to open it because I'll burn my hand.
Yeah.
There's a lever right here. Put a 2-inch hotel pan there, and then just drain it out.
Okay.
Or what's even easier, so we gave you guys that hose kit. If you want to connect the hose and just tuck it underneath when you're not using it, and then when you want to drain it, just pull the hose out. Just pull this just a few inches, and you can just drain it right there. So those acrylic hoses that we gave you, they actually connect right down here. And before I leave, I'll get that done. We can get that done. So
Are you saying that we need to drain this when we're doing the oven part and then refill it, or it can stay there?
only frozen
food.
crispy foods.
Only frozen food.
Right. Well, frozen
But we don't
crispy.
have any frozen food.
Well, he's talking about chicken patties that are.
Crispy foods,
Crispy,
because
yeah.
a lot of the
Potato salad.
crispy, because whether they're frozen or refrigerated, they still have moisture on them, and the goal is to get the moisture out. So whenever that's what makes it versatile. If you were to plumb this in, you would never have the option to drain the water, because again, the auto water fill will always keep it full. But that's not what you want when you're in K through 12. You want a dry. You want today I want to be dry, tomorrow I want to be humid. That's why we give it to you manually. In a combi, you can really never be dry because there's always humidity in there, and that's why we made this completely manual.
And when you started to cook a different food, I had to start all over again in preheat, or it's already on.
Well, if you're in a cycle and it goes into hold mode, and hold mode is 170, and then I have to go back up to 350, yes, I would have to preheat again.
They have to preheat
You
the
have
whole
to.
process again.
You have to, because if I'm dropping it down, if I'm cooking at 350 and then it goes into hold mode and the temperature drops to 160, I have to go into preheat again because I have to get the oven up to that temperature. So yes,
Okay.
you don't have to turn it on and off.
No, only
Yeah.
the.
So right now, right, the display is 350. So we're about to hit 350. It's going to go up there and then it's going to beep at me. See?
Uh-huh.
So now, if you want to load those up, we hit
have to
start.
start first.
Right. So do you want to do that?
Yes.
Let me just, I'm gonna get the trash can out
You start
Hit
already.
start. No, we'll hit start right now.
so I can hide.
Now you're good to go.
And in a real world, if we were using one for steam and one for frozen stuff, just don't put water in the other.
Correct. You get it. Girl gets it. So yeah, in a case, she brings up a fantastic point. In a case where you have two ovens, use one with humidity and use one dry. So you guys are very fortunate to have two, so you guys can run them differently. One could be for veggies, retherming bags, rice with humidity, and another one could be for your dry products, your chickens, your French fries, things like that. That way you're only filling and draining water on one. Great,
Yes,
great
yes,
observation.
yes.
So,
Debbie says that we need to be ready for 8:30. Is there
Yes.
anything else we need to bring?
I can put the chicken pies.
Yes.
You guys will take like a 45 minutes.
That's good.
We're
Oh,
gonna
the
do
chicken.
because
Want me to start with chicken?
coming here at 8:30.
also,
Yeah, we'll see.
We gotta-
also keep in mind that if your fans are in low, it's going to affect the cook time as well.
And then you start cutting the chicken
Right now they're on
pies.
high,
Okay, we'll see.
right?
You put it for 45 minutes because of frozen, but that is kind of thought out. So I know she's worried about the timing. I'm trying to.
Right now,
Might be done
I don't
sooner.
know. So I don't know your time.
Right.
What we're doing right now
Testing.
is we're experimenting, we're testing, and we're showing you
It might
guys.
be done sooner than you think.
Correct.
She's getting nervous.
Are you
We
getting
have a
there?
very early lunch today, so that's
Okay.
We'll keep an eye on it for 20 minutes and go from
okay.
there. Yeah.
Sorry.
Check it out. That's okay. No, it's just our schedule is weird.
No worries. And again, we're if you guys need to move anything out of here, you
Yeah.
feel more. As a matter of fact, if you feel a little nervous, I would, I don't want to get